Yeah, so I think now we are connected. Yeah, so you are muted, Rajiv Prabhu.
Should I start, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Are we live?
We can start now.
Okay. Prabhuji, our topic today is the Leelas of Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji, right?
Yeah, lessons from God, Lila.
Lessons from God. Okay, Hare Krishna, welcome all. Today we are Sri Prema Rāsa Dāsa Prabhuji is going to be talking upon the lessons. The subject of this talk is the lessons from Gaur Lila, and a brief description of Sri Prema Rāsa Dāsa Prabhuji's profile. His Grace Prema Rāsa Dāsa Prabhuji is a disciple, a sincere disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He has got his master's degree in aerospace engineering from the University of Florida. He got connected to ISKCON Gainesville Temple, where he got an opportunity to share the knowledge of Gita with students. Later, he moved to Mumbai and got connected to ISKCON Temple at Chowpatty, that is Radha Gopinath Temple. He has been ardently practicing bhakti for more than 13 years. He is a very scholarly devotee, and he's read all the books and letters of Srila Prabhupada. Even he continues to read them, in fact. And even those by other Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas. Prabhuji conducts online classes to systematically educate and guide devotees in the path of bhakti. He has delivered lectures on Nectar of Instructions, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also numerous classes on special festivals, on the occasion of festivals. He has the unique distinction of being among the world's top 3 Srimad Bhagavatam distributors since the last 4 years consecutively. He has been guiding many devotees from different parts of the world, alongside of his conducting his household duties as a grahastha as well. And apart from this, he's also a very successful businessman. So may we request His Grace Prema Rāsa Dāsa Prabhuji to start with the talk today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Rajiv Prabhuji, for the nice, kind introduction. To all the devotees also. Om Agyan Divinandasya Gyananjala Shalaka Chakshurumnitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so today we'll be sharing about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I think we started with lessons from Gaur Lila. The first particular topic was chastisement of it was, I think, Gunarama Mishra, and this is the second class on this series, lessons from Gaur Lila. And today we will be discussing about the deliverance of Gopinath Pattanayaka. So it's a very interesting topic, actually, very interesting story. That's why I've chosen this particular story from the Gaur Lila. So this is during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sannyas Lila, when Mahaprabhu used to reside in Jagannath Puri. And so when he was in Jagannath Puri, he was daily receiving a lot of visitors from local residents outside. And then obviously it is also mentioned that demigods also used to visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and not just demigods, but also great sages like Sukdev Goswami, and great devotees also like Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Vyasdev, and many other personalities, prominent personalities from the previous yuga. They used to disguise themselves and they used to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So somehow they were invisible to the general eyes, in front of the public eyes, but somehow Mahaprabhu actually recognized them. And sometimes what they used to do is they used to come in the disguise of some brahmanas or some other people, and they used to visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because these personalities, they are pure devotees of the Lord. So we cannot see them with our material eyes. We can only realize and see them through our transcendental eyes. So just by looking at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they used to faint in ecstasy. And all kinds of people, they used to come and see the Lord. They used to visit the Lord. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to pass his days like that, days and nights. He was completely engaged in absorption in Krishna Lila. And he had his eternal associates, Ramandarai, Swarup Damodar Goswami. And like Mahaprabhu had 3.5 associates. So why it is 3.5 associates? Because a sannyasi is not supposed to directly uh, get uh, physically engaged with a woman. So one of the associates of Mahaprabhu, intimate associate, was actually a woman. That's why Mahaprabhu had 3.5 associates: Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramandarai, Siki Maiti, and Madhvi Devi. So Siki Maiti was actually the Madhvi Devi was the sister of Siki Maiti. And that's how Mahaprabhu used to spend days and nights absorbed continuously. And we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent his last 12 years completely in isolation. He was completely immersed in his bhajan. And he used to express a lot of symptoms of ecstasy. And he was kind of confined in the rooms of Gambhira. So if you have visited Gambhira, it's a very, as the name suggests, it's very Gambhir. Gambhir means very deep, very serious, very intense. So we can actually feel that, we can realize that in Gambhira when we visit in Jagannath Puri. So what happened is, one day, people came from different parts to visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and specifically one particular day. So there were some people who came to visit Mahaprabhu, and they informed him that the son of Bhavananda Rai. Now, Bhavananda Rai is actually the eternal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with his son. So it is said that Bhavananda Rai is the incarnation of Pandu, and the 5 sons of Bhavananda Rai, they are Pandavas. So like one of them is Ravanda Rai, and one of them is Gopinath Pattanayaka. Now, Gopinath Pattanayaka was condemned to death by the Bada Jana, who is basically the eldest son of the king, and he was raised on a changa. So, so what is a changa? Changa is basically a raised platform with swords arranged underneath. So, if someone is raised on a changa, it means that they are, if like they are standing on the top and there are swords underneath. So, if they are pushed from above, then they will be killed because of the pressure or the weight. They'll directly contact the swords, and that's how they will be killed. So he was actually going to be raised on the changa, and he was arranged to be killed by the eldest son of the king. So all of the devotees, actually, they were very concerned because they knew that Gopinath Patnaik is one of the eternal associate of the Lord, and he's the son of Bhavananda Rai, and they are the Pandavas, incarnation of Pandavas. Now, Ramandara is also considered to be non-different from Vishaka. He is also considered to be non-different from Arjun Sakha in Vrindavan. Arjun, the Pandava, who is residing in Dwarka or Hastinapur. And he's also considered to be Arjunia Gopi. So there are multiple personalities in one body, in the body of Ramandarai. Such an exalted personality was Ramandarai, and he was one of the most intimate associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he also considered to be the incarnation of Vishakha, Sakhi. So we know that Radha and Krishna, they have their most intimate Sakhis, and these are the Ashtasakis, and one of them is Vishakha Sakhi, Lalita Vishakha. And Swarup Damodar Goswami is considered to be Lalita Sakhi, Ramandarai is considered to be Vishakha Sakhi. So Gopinath Patnaik was very intimately associated with the Lord, and he was very dear to the Lord in one sense. So what happened is, all these devotees, now devotees, obviously they are very affectionate, and they are very concerned about any other devotee who is being punished by someone else. So they expressed their concern to the Lord, and they pleaded the Lord to protect him. So they said that Bhavanand Rai and his entire family, they are all your devotees. So they must somehow be protected. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked the reason. So what happened? Why the king, the eldest son of the king, has arranged for this situation? So then these devotees, they explained to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they gave a entire synopsis of what happened. And they said that he was government treasurer, and he used to solicit and collect money and deposit in the government. So he was serving in some place called as Mal Jataya Dandapat. Once he deposited the collection about, he had once deposited some collection, but some balance was pending. A balance of around 2 lakh kanahas of conch shell was actually due from him. So one kanahas is equivalent to 12 1280 codis. Now, codis we know conch shells. So in the earlier days, people used to trade not with money, not with paper money or coins, because there was no paper money and coin that time. So they used to trade with the help of codis or the conch shells. So he had a debt of 2 lakh kanas, which one kana is equivalent to 1280 codis. And therefore, the king demanded that this sum should be somehow realized from him. So, what happened is Gopinath Patnayak, when he was arrested, so he informed the king that he does not have that much money in cash, but gradually he can remit the deposit by selling gross goods. And he also suggested that they immediately keep 10 to 12 horses, which he had, for proper price, and then he can give those horses, and the balance he can pay gradually. So this was the proposal of Gopinath Patnaik to the king, uh, to one of the eldest son of the king, as well as to the king. So then one of the princes, who is the eldest son, so he knew how to estimate the price of the horses. So the king called for him with his ministers, and the prince purposefully gave lower estimation of the horses, and due to this, Gopinath became very angry. So actually, there was probably some friction between Gopinath Patnaik and the eldest son of the king, and that is why he actually purposefully gave a lower price in comparison to the actual price. So, and the prince also had some issues. He had some idiosyncrasy of turning his neck and then looking here and there again and again. So Gopinath kind of criticized him indirectly by imitating him, and he criticized the prince because he was not afraid of the king, as the king was very affectionate to and very favorable to Gopinath Patnaik and his family. So Gopinath Patnaik actually kind of took that as a as a chance, and he took it for granted, the affection of the king. So he imitated and he criticized the prince for unfairly lowering the price of the horses. So then Gopinath said, that my horses, they never turn their neck and look here and there. So he made fun of the prince in front of everyone. That's why the prince got very angry. He was like, his ego got hurt. And because of that, somehow he felt very hurt that he has made fun of him. And then what happened is, in order to revenge this criticism, he went to the king and he actually made some false allegations against him. And he said that he's unwilling to pay the money, and by some pretext, he wants to squander the money. So if you kindly order, then I will raise him on the changa. And then obviously he did not share with the king that he wants to hang him, or he wants to kill him. He wants to sentence him to death. He did not share these things with the king. King didn't know about it. So after describing all these things to the king, the king told him that, okay, whatever way you want to adopt, that's up to you, but somehow realize the money from him. So the king was completely unaware of that. The prince was going to kill him somehow. So then he went and then he raised Gopinath Patnaik on a changa and then put swords below him. After hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke with affectionate anger that Gopinath. Now see, the thing is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has heard this. One may feel that why Mahaprabhu is actually taking side of the prince and the king. After hearing this, he's not criticizing the prince, but instead of that, he's actually criticizing Gopinath Patnaik. So what Mahaprabhu says is that Gopinath has taken the king's money and does not want to return. So how is the king at fault in punishing him? And Gopinath squanders the money to see dancing girls, not fearing the king, although he is in charge of collecting money on behalf of government. So if one is intelligent, then let them pay, let them serve the government, and after paying the government, he can spend whatever money he is left out with. So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that an intelligent person, what he will do is, he will, whatever money he is collecting on behalf of government, he will remit to the government, and then whatever the government gives as a salary, that he can use in whatever way you would like to. This was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's proposal, and he thought that the king is not at fault. So then at the same time, another person came and then informed that Vaninath Rai and his entire family is arrested. Again, these are all brothers in the family of Bhavananda Rai. So Vaninath Rai and his entire family are arrested. Lord Chaitanya said that the king must realize the money, and so basically they were all asking for help from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu said that being a sannyasi, what can I do? I am like a beggar, what can I do? And do you want me to actually go and ask the king or beg to the king that he should be released? So Swarup Damodar Goswami and all the devotees, they pleaded the Lord to save them. And then they also expressed to the Lord that it is not befitting for the Lord to be indifferent to his devotees, because they are all his very dear devotees. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got very angry and he said that, you want to order me to go and beg from the king. So a sannyasi can actually, what a sannyasi can beg is, the maximum limit is, sannyasi can beg up to 5 gandas. But why should he be granted 2 lakh kahanas? So this was the argument of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then another person came and informed that Gopinath is just about to be thrown. So now hearing this, all the devotees, they became very anxious and they started pleading the Lord once again. But the Lord replied that he's just a beggar and it is impossible for him to do anything. So he told all the devotees, do one thing, you just pray to Lord Jagannath. If he wishes, then he can undo the things. So Mahaprabhu just prayed, he just suggested all the devotees to pray like that. So now what happened? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke this, and immediately an officer, Harichandan Patra, he went to the king and spoke to him. And he actually described the details about what is about to happen. So he told the king that Gopinath is your faithful servant and to condemn him to death is not good behavior. So his only fault is he owes you some death. But if he is killed, how will the government recover the money? So it's better to take the horses for proper price and allow him to repay the balance. So why one has to kill him? So he put forward all these arguments towards the king. And the king was actually completely shocked. He thought that, well, I never knew that he's supposed to be killed by my eldest son. So what he did, he told Harichandan that you just go there and somehow realize the money and go there and adjust everything. And then Harichandan immediately informed, and Gopinath was released from that changa. Then he was asked by what means he would pay back, and he said, take the horses for proper price and I will gradually repay the balance. So it's unfair to take my life, what can I say? So even Gopinath Pattanayaka, he also felt that this is somehow unfair, that just for some misappropriation of the funds, I am arranged to be killed by the son of the king. So then the government, they took the horses and then set a time for paying the balance, and he was released. So Lord Chaitanya asked, then what was Gopinath Rai doing when he was arrested? And the devotees responded that he was fearlessly chanting the holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and then he counted the chants on the fingers of both hands. And after he had finished chanting 1,000 times, he would make a mark on his body. So by hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy. And then at that time, Kashi Mishra, he came. So Kashi Mishra is actually also another associate, eternal associate of the Lord, who is actually the owner, I think the proprietor of Kambira also. So Kashi Mishra came, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke with some agitation to Kashi Mishra. And he said that, well, he does not wish to stay here longer because devotees are approaching him for material benefits or material requests and all that. So he's very disturbed and he does not want to stay and he wants to go to Alalnath. So all the members of Bhavananda Rai, the Mahaprabhu said, they are all engaged in government service, but they spend in various ways. And what's the fault of the king? It's justified. When they fail to return the money, they come to me for releasing them. So when Gopinath was raised, the messenger came 4 times. So 4 times the messengers came and they informed the Lord, and the devotees also pleaded with the Lord. So the Lord was very disturbed with all these things, and he thought that I am just dragged into some material things. So instead he wanted to focus on his bhajan. So Mahaprabhu said that as a beggar sannyasi, I wish to live in solitary place, but they come and disturb me. Jagannath saved him once, but if he repeats, who will save him again? So Srila Prabhupada in this particular context, he quotes the verse. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes that Apichet Suduracharo, which is given in the Bhagavad Gita, that even if my devotee commits the most abominable activity, then he should be considered saintly. So yeah, but then Srila Prabhupada also explains that if a devotee, on the strength of chanting the holy name, if one commits sinful activities again and again, then it becomes an offense, and then Krishna won't protect. So then Mahaprabhu said that, if I hear about material things, my mind will be disturbed, therefore let me leave. So now later on, what happened is, so then Kashi Mishra, he actually caught hold of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet, and then he was asking him that, why are you agitated by these things? You need to be indifferent. I mean, you don't need to get involved in these things. So then he said that you are a renowned sannyasi, and what connection do you have with these things? One who is worshipping you for material purpose is actually blind to all knowledge. So Kashi Mishra again he continued. He says that if one engages in devotional service for your satisfaction, it results in his increasingly awakening his dormant love for you. But one engages in your devotional for material purposes, he should be considered fool number one. So then he also said that, well, it is only because of your mercy that Ramandar actually resigned from the governorship of South India. And then Sanatan Goswami also gave up his post as a minister. And then Raghunath Das Goswami also gave up all his family relationships. And in spite of his father sending money, he actually broke all that obligations, and he completely surrendered to you. So, so Raghunath Das Goswami, instead of receiving the monies from his father, is actually begging alms from the centers of distribution of the food, which is near the temple in Jagannath Puri. And then he said that, well, Gopinath Pattanayaka is actually a very good gentleman, and he does not desire material benefits from you. And it was not Gopinath who had sent all these messengers, and he was not the one who actually requested you to release him from this particular situation, but the devotees were concerned about him. That's why they were sending messengers. So so your Gopinath is actually your surrender soul. So why he has to undergo these kind of suffering and distress situation? And then he said that Gopinath Patnaik is also a pure devotee who worship you only for your satisfaction, and he does not care about personal happiness. So, so basically, I request you to stay here and do not go to Alarnath. Henceforward, no one is going to approach you for material affairs. So finally, Kashi Mishra told the Lord that if you want to give protection to Gopinath, then Jagannath, who protected him today, will also protect him in the future. So this is how actually Kashi Mishra kind of convinced Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to stay back. And after that, he left Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and returned to his own temple. And then in the noontime, Prataprutra Maharaj, who is the king actually, he came to Kashi Mishra's home. So as long as Prataprutra was in Purushottam Kshetra, Jagannath Puri, performed one particular regular duty every day. He would daily come to the house of Kashi Mishra to massage his lotus feet, and the king would actually hear from him about how opulently Lord Jagannath was being served. So when the king began pressing the lotus feet of Kashi Mishra, informed him about something through hints. So Kashi Mishra actually informed the king, and he briefly described what happened. So he told the king that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu plans to leave Jagannath Puri and he wishes to go to Alarnath. And obviously, the king got very concerned about it, because he was also a very strong devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And somehow he didn't want Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go out of Jagannath Puri, and he wanted him to stay in Puri. So then briefly explain whatever happened. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like, he also shared what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought about the entire incident to the king. So when Kashi Mishra, when Prem Pratap Rudra, he heard all these details, he felt great pain in his mind. and very boldly declared that I shall give up all that is due from Gopinath Patnaik if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will stay at Jagannath Puri. If for a moment I could get an interview of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I would not care for profit of millions of Chintamani stones. I do not care about this small, 2 lakh kahanas. What to speak of this? I would indeed sacrifice everything at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, including my life and kingdom. So Kashimitra hinted to the king and said that it is not the Lord's desire that you forfeit the payment. He's unhappy only because the whole family is troubled. So the king replied that I had no desire to give pain to Gopinath Patnaik and his family, and he also did not knew about that he was going to be lifted onto the changa and was to be thrown on swords. So so basically, because Gopinath Patnaik sneered at Purushottam Jana, therefore the prince tried to scare him as a punishment. So then he said that go personally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and keep him at Jagannath Puri with great attention. I shall excuse Gopinath Patnaik from all his debts. So the king actually told Kashi Mishra that I am willing to sacrifice everything so that Lord can stay here. And then Kashi Mishra said that, okay, excusing Gopinath Patnayaka from all his debts will make the Lord unhappy, for that is not the intention of the Lord. And the king said that I shall absolve Gopinath Patnayaka for all the debts, but don't speak of this to the Lord. Simply let him know that all family members of Bhavananda Rai, including Gopinath Patnaik, are naturally my dear friends. So Bhavananda Rai is worthy of my worship and respect. Therefore, I am always naturally affectionate to his sons. So then after saying this, Pratap Rudra Maharaj paid obeisance to Kashi Mishra and then he returned to his palace. And then he called for Gopinath and the eldest prince. And then king told Gopinath Patnaik that you are excused from all the debt you owe to the treasury, and the place known as Mala Jatya Dandapat is again given to you for collections. And then he also warned him that do not again misappropriate the revenue of the government. And if you think that your salary is insufficient, then it will be doubled. So you don't have to worry about your salary also. After saying this, the king appointed him by offering him a silken wrapper around his body. And he told him that, you can go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and after asking permission from him, you can go to your home and you may go now. So then by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that we cannot understand the pastimes of the Lord, and we cannot understand how this entire episode and these events, they will be unfolding. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is such that Gopinath Patnaik attained everything. Instead of getting punished, he attained everything. His material desires got fulfilled, or he was favored materially also. At the same time, he was saved from being killed. He was saved from being punished. And on top of that, he was also honored with a silken wrapper. So all this is mercy. All this is possible because of mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then so he says that one can certainly become spiritually advanced, and no one can estimate the results of the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Gopinath Patnaik achieved the result of kingly opulence due to but a glimpse of the Lord's mercy. Therefore, no one can calculate the full value of his mercy. Now, Gopinath Patnaik was lifted onto the Chandra to be killed, and all his money was taken away, but instead his debts were excused and he was appointed collector in the same place. Gopinath Patnaik was unable to clear his debts, even by selling all his possessions, but on the other hand, his salary was doubled and he was honored with silken wrapper. So it was not the desire of Mahaprabhu that Gopinath Patnaik be excused of his debt to the government, nor was it his desire that his salary should be doubled or that he should be reappointed as a collector at the same place. So Gopinath Patnaik's servant went to Mahaprabhu and informed the Lord of his plight. The Lord was somewhat agitated and dissatisfied. The Lord had no intention of awarding his devotee the happiness of material opulence, yet simply just because of being informed, just by his being informed, a great result was obtained. So no one can estimate the wonderful characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot understand intentions of the Lord. So Kashi Mishra went to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and informed him all the details which were shared by the king. So he basically shared the intentions of the king and why he did all these things. So upon hearing Kashi Mishra's tactics with the king, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Kashi Mishra, what have you done? You have made me indirectly take help from the king. And then Kashi Mishra replied, my dear Lord, the king has done this without any reservations. Kindly hear what the king has to say. And then he replied that the king said, speak to the Lord in such a way that you will not think. For my sake, the king has forfeited 2 lakh kanas of kaudis. Inform Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that all the sons of Bhavananda Rai are especially dear to me. I consider them like my family members. And therefore, I have appointed them collectors in various places. And although they spend the government's money, eat, drink, plunder, and distribute it as they like, I do not take them very seriously. So I made Ramandarai the governor of Rajamudri. There is practically no account of whatever money he took and distributed in that position. So having been appointed collector, Gopinath in the same way also spends around 2 lakhs to 4 lakh kanas as he likes. And Gopinath Patnaik would collect some and pay some, spending it at his will. But still, I would not consider this very seriously. I will overlook it. This time, however, he was put into trouble because of misunderstanding with the prince. The prince created this situation without actually any kind of knowledge. But actually, I consider all the sons of Bhavananda Rai to be my own relatives. So because of my intimate relationship with them, I have absolved Gopinath Patnaik from all the debts. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not know this fact. Whatever I have done is because of my intimate relationship with the family of Bhavananda Rai. So having heard this from Kashi Mishra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy. And that time Bhavananda Rai also arrived. Bhavananda Rai, along with his 5 sons, fell at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who lifted him up and embraced him. Thus Ramananda Rai, all his brothers and their father met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Bhavananda Rai, he began to speak and he said that all these members of my family are your eternal servants and you have saved us from this great danger. Therefore, you have purchased us for a proper price. And you have now demonstrated your love for your devotees. Just as previously when you had saved all the Pandavas from the dangers. So Gopinath Pattanayaka, his head covered with a silken wrapper, fell at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu and described the detail and the king's mercy toward him. So the king excused me for the balance due, he said, and he has reappointed me to my post by honoring me with the silken cloth as double my salary. I was lifted upon to be killed, but instead I was honored with the silken cloth. This is all your mercy. On the Changa, I began meditating upon your lotus feet, and the power of that remembrance has yielded all these results. So struck with wonder by my affairs, the populace is glorifying the greatness of your mercy. And he also said that these are not the principal results of your mercy. Actually, these are just the byproducts of your mercy. So material opulence is a very flickering thing, and only because of your glance, somehow I got some material opulence. So then he requested Mahaprabhu to bestow his pure mercy so that he can become a completely pure devotee and completely not interested in material enjoyment. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, he replied that if you all adopt the renounced order and lose interest in dealing with pounds, shillings, and pence, then who is going to take charge of maintaining large family? So whether you are involved in material activities or become completely renounced, you 5 brothers are all my eternal servants, birth after birth. But just obey one thing: do not spend any of the king's revenue. First, you should pay the revenue to the king, and then you must spend the balance for religious and fruitful activities. Don't spend a farthing for sinful activities, for which you will be the loser both in this and next life. And after this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade them farewell. Thus, mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was spoken of in the family of Bhavananda Rai. That mercy was clearly demonstrated, although it appeared to be something different. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced them all and bade them farewell. Then all the devotees got up and left, loudly chanting the holy name of the Lord. Seeing extraordinary mercy the Lord granted to the family, everyone was struck with wonder. They could not understand the behavior of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Indeed, when all the devotees had requested the Lord to bestow his mercy upon Gopinath Patnaik, the Lord had replied that he could do nothing. I have simply described. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that I'm just describing the chastisement of Gopinath Patnaik and Mahaprabhu's indifference to him. But the apparent indifference also has some meaning. It has so deep meaning it is so difficult to understand. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave so much to Gopinath Patnaik without directly making request of either the king or Kashi Mishra. So then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami concludes by saying that the intentions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are so deep that one can understand them only if he has complete faith in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. And whether one understands or not understand, if one hears of this incident concerning the activity of Gopinath Patnaik and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's causeless mercy upon him, certainly he will be promoted to the platform of ecstatic love of Lord, and all dangers will be nullified. So this is how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has beautifully described the pastime of deliverance of Gopinath Patnaik. Yeah, so there are a couple of lessons to be learned from this entire pastime. And I would love if devotees, they have any questions. Maybe the learnings can be done in a conversation way. If if devotees, they have some comments or they have questions about the entire episode, then I think it will automatically reveal the lessons to be learned from this pastime. So any devotees, they have any comment, question? Any particular thing that made you feel, well, this is something which is um, quite surprising or weird, or you could not think of, or something which is something that does not happen normally?
Just probably, I think, reinforces that Lord's ways are inconceivable. They, on the material platform, they appear as if they are not favorable, but on the external, on the outside, they appear so. But internally, they are already acting at a different plane. They cause their own ripples. And finally, things turn out fine, provided, like you said, we have complete faith in the lotus feet of the Lord, in the ashray of the lotus feet of the Lord.
Yeah. So what particular lessons you have derived from this pastime?
I think exactly this, that you have to just go on doing your thing, and the condition of your heart is entirely known to Lord. It's not even that you have to ask for anything. You continue being the way you are with firm faith in God's shelter and protection. And thereafter, you don't have to really make a formal request or expect anything. And whatever is best will happen. Even if it appears apparently that things are going out of hand, one need not worry, because anyways, these external conditions are not in our control. So we must not lose focus. We just continue and accept whatever then comes. Accept. It is always that faith has to be there in the larger good. In the bigger picture, it is for the larger. I think that's what my takeaway.
Okay.
See, it is not necessary that if every time it appears that very clearly that I have got what I wanted, things have turned out absolutely favorable for me, the way we conventionally understand, then it is good for me. That may not be necessarily the case.
Okay.
In a deeper dimension, it might be acting at a deeper dimension, and then things will come out. Finally, it will be good only, but maybe not conceivable by us. We will not understand that for now. At some point, we will realize, oh, that was the bigger thing which was taken care of. But this can happen only if we have complete faith and belief in the Lord. Otherwise, there will be many questions which can come up. If you're doubting, then there will be many questions. we can very easily be bewildered, what I mean to say, if we are not having full faith.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for sharing nice points. And Nidhi Mataji, you have any comments or questions?
No, Prabhuji, as such, no comments. But I just wanted to know why did he make fun of the prince?
That is
Okay.
quite unlike a Vaishnava, actually.
Yeah, so I think the reason he imitated the actions of the prince is because the prince actually gave a lower price for the horses. So he was somehow trying to trap Gopinath Patnaik when actually the prices of the horse were pretty high. So it is why, like he was trying to cheat him, basically. And I think in response to that cheating, he criticized him. He criticized by imitating his actions. So, so this is probably one of the reasons why he did like this. I
But
mean, it is obvious.
actually, he could have directly said that this what he was doing is not right. He should not have made fun. Like it, apparently, it feels like
In fact, yeah, he
it
it,
is
you know,
like provoking him.
yeah, okay.
Isn't
So
isn't this similar, Prabhuji, to Parikshit
Draw.
Maharaj putting that garland of snake in, out of the
yeah,
blue? I mean, why that exaggerated response from a
yeah,
devotee kind of a person?
yeah, that's a good point. In fact, yeah, so in a similar way, we can understand that this entire episode, see, if you now say that why did he make fun of him? Why did he imitate him? Now you can also question it the other way around that if he hadn't committed this particular action, then the entire pastime would not unfold like this. So basically, and right from the beginning, the devotees told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were saying that, they are your eternal associates. So it is not befitting for you to be indifferent to them. So this entire pastime was unfolded and it was all arranged by the Supreme Lord. It was actually, in one sense, because whatever happens with the eternal associates of the Lord, it is all planned by the Lord. It is arranged by the Lord. So now, if Gopinath Patnaik did not provoke the prince, he would have not raised him on Chanda probably, and things would have gone like that. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally involved, when the Lord is personally involved, then what he will do? He will incite, you know, the situation in such a way that the small thing can also become a big thing. Like as Rajiv Prabhu also said, he commented that actually Parikshit Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord. And in the Bhagavatam purport, it is very clearly stated by Prabhupada that this entire pastime was arranged by the supreme will of the Lord. It was not that Parikshit Maharaj was so thirsty that he could actually make fun of a Brahmana. It is not possible for a pure devotee. And just imagine, Parikshit Maharaj said for 7 continuous days Nirjal, fasting Nirjal, okay, not even water, drop of water. And he was not angry at all. He was completely blissful. And do you think just for a few couple of hours on that particular day, he became so thirsty that he became so angry because of the thirst that he cursed a Brahmana? That is not at all possible. So it was actually the Lord's arrangement. Somehow he incited Parikshit Maharaj to curse Shringrishi. Okay. And this is clearly given by Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam purport. So here also in a similar way we can understand. Normally pure devotees, obviously they will not make fun of anyone because they respect all the living entities. But because of the Lord's special arrangement, they may act beyond their control sometimes, beyond their imagination. Okay. So that's how somehow I feel, because this entire pastime is actually orchestrated by the Lord in order to teach us many different things. So one thing, yeah. So apart from, so does that make sense to you? And you have any other question or comment?
No, Prabhuji, fine, understood.
Okay, yeah. So see, basically, if you see the entire pastime, there are multiple lessons to be learned from this. Let's go from the beginning. So the beginning part is that devotees approaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and pleading on behalf of another devotee. So this is a Vaishnav. So whenever a Vaishnav sees another Vaishnav in trouble, their heart will actually be uh, their heart will melt and they will be concerned. They will be anxious for the devotee's welfare, especially for a devotee who is about to be killed, and for such a small reason. It was not a big thing. And as it is also described by Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, the king was very favorable to all his family members. So it was not a big thing for the king to actually make him raise on a changa and to be killed, right? So Vaishnavas are very merciful and they are compassionate. So they always think about other Vaishnavas' welfare. So they all went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to plead with him. And similar pastime happened with favoring of the Lord's, favoring Maharaj Pratap Rudra also. If you know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict as a sannyasi, and he wanted to restrain from meeting any person who was materially very opulent. So King Pratap Rudra, because he was the king, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to somehow, he was actually not willing to meet the king, and he was avoiding the king constantly. But because devotees like Ramandarai and other senior Vaishnavas, they were constantly, somehow they were trying to impress upon Mahaprabhu that he's a pure devotee and he's a wonderful devotee. That's how, and then after seeing that Pratap Rudra Maharaj was cleaning the streets for Lord Jagannath service, so that actually melted the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he knew that he's actually a pure soul. But externally he was displaying that kind of sentiments, in just so that he's not criticized by the people in general. Okay. But then finally, because of the devotees' constant insistence on the glories of Maharaj Pratap Rudra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to meet him somehow, indirectly, obviously not directly. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the Jagannath Vallabh garden and he was in ecstasy, that time Pratap Rudra Maharaj took that opportunity and he went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was kind of semi-conscious that time. And Pratap Rudra Maharaj was actually he went and massaged the feet of the Lord. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to recite the Gopi Gita. Then Pratap Rudra Maharaj took that opportunity and he started glorifying the Lord and he started singing Gopi Gita. So Mahaprabhu became very happy. And then he began to embrace Maharaj Pratap Rudra. Now for a sannyasi like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict and he completely avoided the association of materialistic people. Here he is like, embracing Maharaj Pratap Rudra again and again. And so this is how Mahaprabhu actually displayed his mercy ultimately. So for the devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami say, one cannot estimate what is going on in his mind. But ultimately, as Rajiv Prabhu is saying, that Mahaprabhu or the Lord, they have the best thing for the devotees, especially for his eternal associates. There is no question of committing any sin from their end. So now, the first lesson to be learned is that Vaishnava should be pleading for another Vaishnava's welfare. Second thing is that from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's perspective, he criticized that activity. So if someone is going to cheat the government and he's spending the money for sense gratification, for seeing the dancing girls, for all such kind of activities, Mahaprabhu was very strict. He condemned that activity, and his stand was fixed. He did not budge from his stand. Even after receiving so much pleading from the devotees, Mahaprabhu did not budge from his stand. He was completely transcendental. He was aloof, and he was mentioning one thing only: I cannot do anything. I'm a sannyasi, I'm a beggar, and I cannot beg from the king. And then finally, obviously, now we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the same Jagannath. So in what he did is basically he actually gave that responsibility to Lord Jagannath. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his external form as a sannyasi, as a devotee, okay, he could not take any action because he wanted to set an example that I cannot release a person from their sins. Okay, but at the same time, he wanted to absolve all the debts, absolve everything, and he wanted to also bestow mercy on Gopinath Pattanayaka. So in the form of Lord Jagannath, he did that. So immediately we know that, okay, Harichandan Patra, he came. And then he informed the king, and the king got to know everything, and then he sent him again, and then he was released. So, and later on, he was rewarded so much, right? So actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu internally, he cannot reject any devotee. and he cannot avoid his devotees. But externally, sometimes he has to act in such a way in order to establish dharma, in order to establish certain lower dharmas, certain lower principles also, so that people in general could follow these things. Otherwise, what will happen? They will start imitating. They will start imitating Gop. So, for example, if Mahaprabhu would have said, "Okay, I will save Gopinath Patnaik, he's my eternal associate, so nothing can stop me from doing that." So, what would happen? Devotees also, like sadhakas, like us, we will also think that, okay, oh well, Mahaprabhu or the Lord will save us from all these sinful activities. So let us keep continuing. As Prabhupada also mentions in the purport that we cannot continue to sin the strength of chanting the holy name. That becomes an offense. So in that sense, Mahaprabhu externally took a very critical role, and internally he was definitely concerned for his devotee, and he also wanted to bestow mercy on them. So you'll see that, two other things are there. First is, the devotees, they told Mahaprabhu that it was not the desire of Gopinath Patnaik that he wanted to be released, and he was asking you and he was sending messengers. Okay, that's first thing. Second thing is, Gopinath Patnaik also said that, Mahaprabhu, when I was about to be raised to the Changa and I was about to be thrown, that time I was remembering your lotus feet. And he was not doing it in order to escape from that, in order to be released from that. But just because he was a pure devotee, he was remembering the feet of the Lord. And then third thing, Vaninatrai, when he was arrested, Mahaprabhu asked what he was doing. And he said that the devotee said that he was chanting your holy names, and he was counting with both hands, and he was also marking his body after the counting. So Mahaprabhu was very pleased. So he knew, so Mahaprabhu could understand the minds and hearts of all these devotees. And so he knew that these are all pure Vaishnavas. So even though Gopinath Patnayaka was raised on a Changa, he didn't want himself to be released from his punishments. And he was okay with that. He just felt that it is unfair to kill someone just because there is some kind of misappropriation of the funds. Right? So, now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, see, now what was the need to arrange for Mahaprabhu to award him all these things? So this was again, this is a very important principle, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is also repeating it a couple of times, that see, by the mercy of Supreme Lord, because the devotees, they are connected to Supreme Lord, so anything is possible for them. If a devotee desires material opulence, they will get it. Even if they do not desire, they will get it by the mercy of Supreme Lord. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to establish the fact that my devotees, how can you touch my devotees? This is also another fact that Mahaprabhu wanted to establish, that they are my eternal associates and no one has the power to do anything to them. So here it is not conveyed externally, but internally Mahaprabhu is also establishing this fact very clearly. And similarly, we can also compare it to the Pandavas. The same situation. Pandavas were also troubled so much, they were so much distressed and they suffered so much. But in spite of all these suffering, Krishna had established dharma and he made the Pandavas rule the kingdom. Right? And in the presence of Krishna, no one was able to harm the Pandavas. So a similar thing happened with Mahaprabhu's pastime also, where see, now you can understand one thing. The dynamics of the entire episode is that Kashi Mishra revealed the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Maharaj Pratap Rudra. And then Maharaj Pratap Rudra actually understood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very affectionate to his devotees, especially to Bhavananda and his family. So, overlooking all these lower principles, he saw the higher principle. Okay, Maharaj Pratap Rudra, he was also pure devotee, so he could understand these dealings, these emotions and sentiments of Mahaprabhu. So what he told Kashi Mishra is that, well, if Mahaprabhu is disturbed, then let me absolve Gopinath Patnayaka from all the deaths. Okay, and then he gave he did not just absolve the debts, but he gave more. So why he did it? Because obviously he was concerned about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wanted to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because these 5 devotees, they were eternal associates of the Lord. So no one could touch them, actually. by the, unless the Lord desires to do that. So he understood the higher principle, and so there are multiple personalities here, and from their perspective, it is the perfect lesson for us. So from the perspective of Kashi Mishra, he is disturbed because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is disturbed, and he wants Mahaprabhu to stay back. At the same time, Kashi Mishra also wanted Gopinath Pattanayaka to be released as a Vaishnav. And then there is Maharaj Pratap Rudra, who is willing to sacrifice everything just to give a bit iota of happiness to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So and also respect the fact that these devotees, they are all very dear devotees of the Lord. So we have to bear this in mind. So it is not just about, so like, sometimes we feel that, okay, I mean, like, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he mentions this many times. He says that, there may be devotees who may be not having proper behavior, or they may be, if there are some issues with some devotees. But then I don't criticize someone, or I don't reject someone based on their individuality. I see in terms of how much service he has done for Prabhupada. That's the basis of my relationship with them. That's the first principle. Because a pure devotee, they will always think what another devotee has done for the Lord. So that devotee may behave in an unjust way, unfair way towards you or to other devotees. But then if he has rendered some service to a superior or to the Lord, then one has to see whether how much service that devotee has rendered to Supreme Lord. And then depending on that, we have to actually deal with that devotee. So in this particular situation also, the same thing is demonstrated. How Maharaj Pratap Rudra also is taking a very wonderful, he's following such a wonderful etiquette that he, just because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is displeased, he's willing to let go the money and everything for the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is another lesson to be learned, that devotees, they have to see the higher principle, and especially if some devotees, they are not behaving properly. So it does not mean that we have to reject them and we have to be merciless to them, but we have to show mercy to them, and we have to see what service they have rendered to Prabhupada, how much they are rendering, how much they are, they are attached to the Lord. Because see, our common link is the Supreme Lord. Our common link is Srila Prabhupada. They are our father, they are our everything. And in a family, even if you have a sibling who is not reciprocating nicely with you, but if he has a lot of regards, attachment, and faith towards his father, who is also your father, so then obviously you will respect that person. You will also appreciate that person, because this is the symptom of love, true love. And that's why Prabhupada also said that your true love for me will be shown by how you all cooperate with each other and how you propagate this ISKCON movement, right? So this is actually pure love, true love. And so for that, we have to compromise, and we have to let go of some lower principles, and we have to focus on the higher principle. Wonderfully demonstrated by Pratap Rudra Maharaj. So he did not say that, okay, well, Gopinath Pattanayaka is, he has so many debts till now, and he has not even repaid me back. So no, I have to take some action against him. Just for the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was willing to let go everything. Okay, so this was Gopinath. This was from the side of Maharaj Pratap Rudra. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy in the form of, so now there are certain purports by Srila Prabhupada. Nice purports he has given. So so Prabhupada says in one place that one shouldn't worship the Lord for any material gains, and even those who aspire to merge in Brahman, they will fall down. And then one may also cheat in the name of religion by becoming a sannyasi and a preacher and taking money and using sense certification. So these things should be avoided. And so from this one particular pastime, we can also learn from the example of Gopinath Patnaik that we are not supposed to hanker for any materialistic things from the Lord. So what we should do is one should only pray for pure devotional service. And we should also not cheat in the name of religion by becoming a sannyasi and a preacher and taking money and using incense gratification. So this also can be learned from the example of Gopinath Patnaik. Um, Now, devotees definitely see if they, so this particular principle is also applied. Now, first of all, Gopinath Patnaik is the eternal associate of the Lord. So, whatever he is doing, it is all inspired by the will of the Lord. Okay. But for the sadhakas, if they are committing of sins, repeatedly they are committing sins, then it becomes an offense. Okay. And that will actually slacken our Krishna consciousness. And we have to repent for it. We have to rectify that. So we should not commit sins on the strength of chanting the holy name. This is the lesson that we learn. But yeah, if there is a mistake from our end, then the Lord will surely protect us. Apichet suduracharo bhajante mam ananya bhak. So this we can clearly understand from this pastime. And Prabhupada also mentions in one purport that one must always remember one is eternal servant of Krishna. So whatever activity you are doing, if we only simply remember that we are servants, we are not the masters, and we are servants of the Lord, and we engage those activities in the service of the Lord, then that will please the Lord and satisfy Him. And we, so even in spite of being, so now see, there is another important principle here. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he said, that I want you to be engaged in pounds, pounds, shillings, and cents, so that you can actually be, you can continue to be involved in the material world, and you continue to earn money. Mahaprabhu actually wanted them to do that, right? Yeah. So because they were pure devotees of the Lord, they could actually engage everything in service of Lord. And sometimes if a devotee will commit mistake, then the Lord will also protect. That is also demonstrated here. But one can be materially engaged and involved if one has a strong sadhana, and if one always remembers that we are doing it for the service of the Lord. So this is a principle that Prabhupada is actually conveying in the purport. And then in one place, Prabhupada also says that the result of advancement in spiritual knowledge is not material improvement, but Mahaprabhu advised Gopinath Pattanayaka how to use this material opulence without incurring reaction to sinful life. So from this advice, it appears that Lord encouraged Gopinath Pattanayaka to enhance his material condition. Actually, however, he did not. In fact, it was but a manifestation of his great affection for his devotee. And then Prabhupada, another place he says, advancement in material opulence is not direct mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nevertheless, it indicates the indirect mercy of the Lord. For even a person too attached to material prosperity can gradually be detached and raised to the spiritual platform. Then he can offer causeless purified service to the Lord. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Ama haite kichu nahi, it is not my business to do anything, he set the example, ideal example for a person in the renounced order. If a sannyasi takes the side of a Vishay, a person engaged in material activities, his character will be criticized. A person in renounced order should not take interest in material activities, but if he does so out of action for a particular reason, that should be considered special mercy. So the same thing that I shared earlier. Sannyasi is not supposed to be engaged in material activities, so he has to keep distance. So he is not supposed to be involved. Yeah, so these are all wonderful lessons that we can learn from this entire pastime of the deliverance of Gopinath Patnaik. Yeah, it may seem that Gopinath Patnayaka was also going and seeing the dancing girls, and they used to squander money also. But these things, they are, especially when a pure devotee, if they are doing this, then we have to understand that it is somehow arranged by the will of the Lord, because he wants to set some example and he wants to demonstrate certain things through the entire pastime. Again, the pastime of the chastisement of Haridas, Chota Haridas, that's also interesting. Maybe we can cover that in the next class. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected him from his company. And then there was another devotee, Mahaprabhu's personal servant, Kal Krishna Das, who got attracted to the Bhattaris when Mahaprabhu went to the tour of Vrindavan. So during that particular period, he also banished him from his company. And then there is a pastime with Vallabhacharya. Sripad Vallabhacharya, who is the founder of the Postimart Sampradaya, Srinathji Nadwara. So that's a completely amazing pastime, because there are so many intricate things involved in that particular pastime. So that also we can cover up next time. But so you'll see that Kavi Karnapur, the son of Shivananda Sen, he has written a book called as Radha Krishna Ganodesh Dipika, and there is Gaur Ganodesh Dipika. So in that Gaur Ganodesh Dipika, Kavi Karnapur has identified and he has realized the identities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associate with the associates of Krishna Lila. So as I was sharing earlier, that Ramandarai was an incarnation of Vishaka, Arjun, Arjunia Gopi, Arjun Sakha, multiple personalities. So similarly, all these associates, they are actually Krishna's associates in Krishna Lila, but they have come in the pastime of Mahaprabhu to participate. So that's how I say that. In fact, another devotee, this Ramchandra Puri, who used to criticize Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi. He was not eating so much, but still he was saying that Mahaprabhu is eating so much, so he should reduce his appetite. But so he was also he actually is an associate of Krishna in spiritual world, but somehow he also took the role of chastising Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there are many associates of the Lord who have come into Gaur Lila, and they have done some activity which is, it seems that it is opposing dharma, or it is against Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desires or something like that. But still they are associates of the Lord. So we can understand that they are all exhibiting the will of the Lord. They are just actors in the drama, which is in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a director, like that. Yeah. So I hope it's clear. And so if there are any further questions or comments. I'm not able to hear you. Are you on mute?
You're not able to hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear.
Yeah. So no questions from me. I think that's
Your voice is low.
there are no further questions as such.
Not able to hear clearly.
Hello. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Prabhuji, can you hear me now?
Now it is clear. Yeah.
Okay. So no further questions, and I think we thank you for this for the efforts you have taken, Prabhuji, for delivering such a powerful message and revealing this interesting pastime of Lord. So with that, we offer a vote of thanks to you and hope you come out soon with some another talk in the same mood, which is ultimately to serve the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sorry?
Which is ultimately, I said, to serve the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through these various pastimes.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So all credit goes to our Guru Parampara, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and all the acharyas who have actually brought out the essential meaning of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood, his intentions, his thoughts, everything. So that's how we are able to understand. Otherwise, it's very difficult to understand these things. Even Krishna Lila as such, the entire winding of the Yadu dynasty, why Krishna performed such a Herculean task, and he destroyed his own dynasty somehow. So these things are all revealed by the acharyas, and that's how we are able to know the intentions of the Lord. So it's all their mercy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you all the devotees for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.